one of the questions in the interview was, why did I feel like it was important to show work by African American artists at Roane
Yeah.
State? And tell me, tell me what you think about my answer. You can,
Mm,
maybe get into the conversation with me.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
said that given our demographic, which is 95% white, that I felt there was almost an obligation to introduce people to work outside their own culture and to, especially given the theme of the show, I see myself in them,
Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
to get them to step outside their own identities and to
Yeah.
look at the world through a different lens.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, my God, I think, it's a loaded question, but I also think that it's an important question, and here's why it's loaded first. I'll answer it by this. It's a loaded question because, when we think about the construct of our history, the things that were put in place to put labels on us, to categorize us. When I say us, that means humans. When we think about these systems and these constructs that were put in place, these systems were put in place for one reason, and that's called capitalism. And so when racism is introduced or segregation is introduced or some of these traumatic things that happen to humans are introduced, what happens is that you get all of these different complexities that just headbutt each other, right? And so all of these headbutt collisions that we see in our American history is a result of these systems and of these constructs that were put in place from day one, right? So it's important for us to look at African American works and really digress, I mean, not digress, but really dissect from the artist lens and then from a cultural lens. And so what I think is the importance is that once you look at an artist's work and you will actually start seeing yourself and seeing and asking yourself questions. Okay, well, how do I see myself against the world? What are my beliefs? What are my values? What are my thoughts? And what I believe for why I do what I do, which is to bring these historical moments to the light and to talk about and have discussions like we're doing now. What I believe in is that it's true radical forgiveness. It's true liberation. I have always believed that you can't give somebody something that you don't have and that you don't have within. And so the radical forgiveness is okay. Culturally, these things have happened. Systematically, these things are put in place. And what I mean by that, I'll give you an example. Boys got to be tough. Boys can't cry. Girls got to be feminine and ladylike, and they love pink. Those are constructs, right? Well, what I understood from researching my own history, the truth of my own history, which is all of our history, is that, well, wait a minute, it's actually okay to be vulnerable. It's actually okay to be, it's actually okay to cry. It's actually okay to like pink, and I'm a male, and I do like pink, you know? So the liberation and the freedom that one can possess is by learning the truth, knowing that there are things taken out of our textbooks that really would have been beneficial or can be beneficial for our students and for ourselves to know that this really did happen. And that if we face and acknowledge the truth, then more truth that we see and uncover and look at and dissect and discuss, the freer we will become. So once we get to that point of freedom and acceptance and forgiveness, then we can go out into the world to the nations and to other cultures and other nationalities and say, okay, here's what I've been able to do to set myself free. Join me in this quest. And that's called love. And that's why I think it's important for, why I think that your question was a loaded question and the most important. So I hope that I answered that for you.
You did. I had not actually thought about it being a loaded question, but that's fine. I think that was maybe getting at the heart of your whole artistic project, which is radical forgiveness.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had to learn that if I was to know more, well, first I had to learn, like, as an artist, or just as a person, we all have the ability to imagine. We all have the ability to be creative. We all have the ability to discover, right? But it is within the discovery that we have to be submissive and accept what truth is. Think about how much closer as society we could become. Because it's like we're not running away from the truth. We're actually like coming together collectively to understand what actually happened, like from the facts. Nothing emotional, but the factual.